All right, go Foxy.
Good morning, everyone out there, and a great big welcome to all of our dairy farmers and dairy industry listeners from around the world to our live stream broadcast of the Monday Morning Move. There, we got the old girl going this morning. It's June 8th, 2020, a beautiful morning here in the Great Lakes State. I'm your host, Gail Foxy Foxworthy of Foxworthy Supply, home of the Bedding Saver, the undisputed sand boss of all sand savers, and the legendary foam mat cow bed, designed with cow comfort in mind, coming to you live from our world headquarters in Kent City, Michigan. Welcome aboard our exciting new live stream. Let's go ahead and welcome in our co-host and the show producer, The Cowsultant. Good morning, Cowsultant. How's the weather out in the Rocky Mountains?
Oh, it's looking pretty nice today, Gail. How are you today?
Well, I'm better than I deserve. How are you?
I'm great. Welcome to all those dairy listeners out there. Happy to have you join us on our live stream today. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Monday Morning Moves. Foxy, I was thinking since your last name is Foxworthy, you ought to be good at telling jokes. Are you kin to Jeff Foxworthy, the comedian?
I am. I must be a first cousin to Jeff Foxworthy. A little backstory here. We went to see him a few years back when he was just getting started, and he was at a comedy club here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. There were 6 of us, and I told our waitress at our table, I said, that's my nephew, or that's my cousin on stage tonight. She said, yeah, right. So I showed her my driver's license. She says, oh my gosh. So she took us right through the kitchen. Then afterwards, we went backstage. He put us right in the front row. We went backstage. He signed my business card, my favorite redneck cousin. And I know we are rednecks because all my wife's salad bowls say Cool Whip. So what do you think, Cowsultant? Can you tell a joke?
I could not tell a joke if my life depended on it, Foxy. Since you're Jeff's cousin, though, or you think you're Jeff's cousin, maybe we should institute a Foxworthy Funny to open up the show each week. What do you think about that?
There's no other way to open a show. That's what we got to do.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, since we have Dr. Trevor on here today, we better wait until next week. I mean, that's what the audience is here for, and Dr. Trevor's a very busy man. So next Monday, you can tell us a joke, okay?
Really? Can't you just tell maybe just a little baby one just to get things rolling?
Oh, geez, Foxy. Okay, get it out of your system. But one condition, the joke has to be about cows.
No problem. That's what this show is about. It's about cows. Great minds think alike, that's for sure. So I got one before we get into talking to Dr. Trevor. What do you call 2 ducks and a cow?
I don't know, 2 ducks and a cow. What do you call them?
Quackers and milk.
Oh, geez.
What's wrong?
Geez, Foxy. Well, I think next time we should stipulate your jokes have to be better than that other Mr. Foxworthy guy.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say his name now because we might get sued.
You cannot get sued for telling bad jokes also. Actually, you probably can.
Yeah, if your name is Foxworthy.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Wise Guy, let's just keep the show going now.
All right. Okay, so without further ado, why don't you go ahead and introduce our first ever guest here on Monday Morning Moves, Dr. Trevor DeVries.
What? I am very excited because today on the show we do have Dr. Trevor DeVries. Dr. DeVries is a professor and researcher for 13 years now at the University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada. He's a world-renowned and very respected researcher in the area of dairy nutrition, dairy calves, robotic feeding, and our topic for this day, robotic milking.
Oh, welcome to the show, Dr. DeVries. Nice to have you on. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're doing there at the University of Guelph in the area of milking robotics?
Well, thanks, guys, for having me on your show. It's an honor to be your first guest. Yeah, we've been quite busy in the last few years working on research with robotic milking, and part of that is the massive adoption of that within our industry, particularly in Canada, but we're seeing that in the US as well, and globally, right? So one of the first things that we did actually in our research is to take a look at adoption within the industry as far as why producers are moving towards robotics and some of the experiences they've had in that, and trying to understand some of the challenges and opportunities with the move to robotic milking. And then beyond that, we've been more recently focusing on what factors, whether they be housing, management, or nutrition, might be associated with success in these systems. And while a lot of the research that's been done over the last number of years has been focused primarily on nutritional management, our work from Canada here, where we have a cohort of about 200 farms that we've been studying, would suggest that differences in housing and management likely play just as large of a role in determining success in robotic milking barns as does nutrition. Probably not too surprising either, those factors that we are observing are similar to those which we see in conventional milking systems. So things like maintaining good cow comfort, adequately sized stalls, deep bedding, sufficient space at the feed bunk, all very important for minimizing lameness, improving udder health, and optimizing production in these herds.
Well, that's great stuff, Trevor. On our last show, we talked about the amount of time it takes to milk a cow. Can you speak a little bit about our discussion from the last show and how much time it really does take to milk a cow in a robot?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question as well, because it actually should take less time to milk a cow in a robot than it would in a normal turn of a parlor. If I look at data that we've collected across lots of farms, we typically see box times, so those are milking times within a box robot, that are anywhere from about 6 to 7 minutes in length. Now, obviously, you're going to have faster and slower milkers, so that does vary. So some a little more than that, some a little less. And it's also going to be tied to the amount they produce. So a high production cow is obviously going to spend probably a little bit more time in that robot as well. But that box time is really key. And so we don't want cows spending too much time there, as if they are, that can plug that system up and limit the amount of cows that are going through, and thus limit the amount of milkings you get from that robot per day. And if we're trying to optimize the use of that robot, we're not only trying to milk, say, as many cows as we can, but we're trying to get as many liters out of that robot per day, and that involves getting as many cows as quickly through so we can optimize time use of that robot. And so to do that, we need to keep those box times down as much as possible.
Well, we all hear about boss cows. Can you tell us if a boss cow is a real thing? And how is that type of behavior being looked at in robotic dairy farms?
Yeah, so just like you and I have different personalities, so do cows actually. And it sounds a little strange, but I think we've long known that social status matters for cows, right? The cows have a hierarchy. Some are more dominant, the boss cow. Some are more submissive, timid cow. And that hierarchy can affect competition for resources in the pen. It's going to influence who goes to the feed bunk first, who lies down in certain stalls. And it's going to determine success in those areas as well. And our idea in some of our recent research with robots was to determine how that translates over to the robot, and specifically focus on other aspects of their personality as well. So not only social structure, but also how cows respond to, say, humans. Are they more fearful? Those cows that may be more bold or explorative, as well as those cows that may be more active and inquisitive. And so we've been looking at trying to pull those behaviors out of cows by implementing certain tests on them, and then looking at how those cows behave within a robotic milking system, specifically in terms of their milking frequency, their behavior in the robot, and their overall production. And the long-term goal with that work is really to be able to identify cows that may be best suited for milking in robots. And so that might come through, say, trait selection, so identifying which cows may display those kind of desired behavioral patterns and then selecting for those. But also maybe being able to identify what factors may contribute to the development of those behavioral or personality differences, say early in the life of the animal, and then being able to recommend management, housing practices, etc., that are going to shape those behaviors as that animal develops early on in life.
Lost your sound, Jim.
I guess I should take myself off mute. You got me now, Gail? Yeah, that's fascinating stuff, Trevor. Thank you so much for your research, and thank you for sharing that with us today on the show. Trevor, I'm going to go ahead and throw his email address here on the screen. That's best place to reach him at if you have any questions about the presentation today. If you want to send him an email, if you're a young person out there planning to study dairy science, check out the University of Guelph, take Trevor's classes. He's a great wealth of knowledge, but he's also able to break things down in a very practical way. University of Guelph has great facilities and a beautiful campus. Thank you for being with us today, Trevor. You have an open invitation. We'd love to have you join us on future broadcasts.
Well, thanks again for the invite, guys, to chat with you this morning. It's been great. I wish you all the best and hope that, I can do this again sometime in the future.
I also want to say thank you, Trevor. It's such a value to have a catalyst like you for this Monday morning moves. We may not be the only show in town, but I can tell you we're going to be dealing right with the heart of the matter. Whether it's an expert from a university like yourself or a dairy producer, we're going to be doing the real deal here, the real milk, and getting the message out to everybody and anybody in the dairy industry. And the more they can learn and the more we can learn, it's just a positive for everybody.
That's right. That's right. We really enjoyed making the show and learning, and we even got a couple Foxworthy funnies in there. Although maybe funny might be a debatable word on this show right now.
Hey.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get those notifications when the show is going live on Monday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. Easiest way to find us is by Googling Monday Morning Moves. Next week, we have Dr. Paul Berkler, Cornell University. We're going to talk about milking machine on time. And he has some great information to share with us. So he knows about as much as anybody in the world about milking a cow. And he's going to be on the show with us here next week.
Well, I'm excited. I can't wait to hear from him.
Yep, 10 a.m. Eastern time next Monday. Have a great week there, Mr. Foxworthy. Go and sell some cow mattresses. And maybe try to find some better jokes, eh?
What? You must, Canada, you can't say A.
We had Trevor on, so I thought I could.
Someday, when we have Trevor back on, I'll explain how Canada got its name.
Okay.
You talk about these jokes. I was just getting my career on track, and then they closed down all the doggone comedy clubs.
Oh, geez.
Starting out supposed to do. But just wait. Enough for these podcasts. I might become another Ed Sullivan. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. I'll wait. Goodbye, Foxy.
All right. I really enjoyed the second inaugural broadcast of Monday Morning Moves. And just so you know, Mr. Cowsultant, I do have a little surprise for my own guest coming up here in a few weeks.
Wait, what are you talking about? We can discuss this off air, Foxy.
No, it's no big deal. I can't tell you right now on the air. It's sort of a secret. But you're not the only one that can bring guests on the show, Mr. Cowsultant.
What kind of guest are we talking about here, Foxy?
I'll just simply say this. She's a very special lady. You'll see. Well, we got to go for today. Okay. So listen in here. For the Cowsultant, And for Foxworthy Supply, this is Gail Foxworthy wishing all of you the best of goodbyes.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye. See you next week.